Hello, classmates. My name is Enrique Rodriguez, and I'll be doing the Apple case for this week. And then here is Apple case overview key concepts. We'll be talking about background, core competency, current strategy, innovation and technology strategy from a product company to a service oriented company, sales projection, and strategy, weaknesses, and strengths. First, Apple case overview. Here's the background. Apple is one of the world's most recognized technology companies to date. Founded on April 1st, 1976 by two college dropouts, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. These companies' goals at the time were to build computers small enough for people all over to be able to have in their homes and offices. Um, this case is set in February 2023. This is focused on Apple's uh, with its current CEO, Tim Cook, who took over after the late Steve Jobs back in August 24th, 2011. Apple currently employs around 164,000 people worldwide and has a market capacity of 2.42 trillion, which makes it the world's most valuable company by market cap. First question was what are Apple's core competency? Because core competency allows a company to gain and obtain a competitive advantage. What should Tim Cook do to extend Apple competitive advantage? Apple main core competence is their ability to innovate new technology. The number one competitive advantage is their product design. Being a company that everyone looks at when it comes to the mainstream technology market, they are able to offer better experience with their products than other rival companies. For example, Apple's able to price their product as a premium price because of their new to date technology in them. People are willing to pay the high price for the name, for the brand, which they built in the past 30 years of recognition. What is Apple? Question 2. What is Apple current strategy? Is this strategy a good strategy as defined by Wolf below? I believe Apple uses a 3-step strategy, mainly based on simplify as first analyzing the problem which they are currently looking at. 2, addressing the problem or any situation they're all dealing with, and then 3 would be competitive, which here is when they are moving their plans into which they are trying to overcome. Here, the strategy defined by Wolf is a straightforward, to the point strategy. With any first part of a strategy, you need to analyze the situation, both external and internal. The second part is to make a plan or a formula to follow to achieve their goals. The only way a strategy can be successful is to follow through and doing the best you can with what you got. Wolf said, point just as a Apple to have a successful strategy doesn't need to be complex in order to get a higher success outcome. You need the formula in the strategy to get the idea of what success can look for you. I don't think Apple's current strategy is a good strategy defined by Wolf. Here's an example of smart strategy thinking with Apple. First, they set a vision of what you want, invest resource in a strategy program, focus on the identity opponently, and market impact tipping point and performance result and payback. And then for question 3, what stage of their industry life cycle would you place smartphones? What are the strategy implications? The strategy smartphones are in the life cycle is maturity. I would say maybe a year or two ago, it has been in the market growth stage of the life cycle, I would say. But in the past few years ago, the new feature in these phones, like Apple introduced the idea of what these phones are capable. But now these phones are pretty much the same, and only get a few new features just so the company can tell people it's an upgrade. Apple needs to go back to the drawing board and innovate a product people are not expecting, which made them the famous brand they are today. For example, the services that they applied were top of the line at the date they released them, but now, after a couple of years, it's something people are expecting from these companies now and not really a requirement. Here's the business strategy, Apple business strategy from graphs from 2016, 17, 18 about new products they're introducing, as in like Apple Watches, VR, and then their sales overall. Question 4: Apple is pivoting from a more product-oriented company to a more service-oriented company. Why and what are some of the challenges and opportunities with this pivot? People realizing when Apple realized when people are buying these products, they are buying into experience, not just a item. Even with Apple products having a higher price tag than other computers, these people can feel a bit more special when they're just in their products in a luxury filling box or easy on-screen software. A main challenge having a service-oriented product is having a familiar product year after year. Recent tabloids stated that Apple earned a lower than expected sales margin on their recent iPhone sales. In this sense, a more service product will be, again, like applying Apple cards, iTunes, Apple TV to the items, making it more of a service compared to just having a newer looking phone than most. In the sense, in the beginning, it was a great idea, adding more services to people wanting to get these Apple services for their iPhones or Apple products, because it's more user friendly when having an iPhone. And again, over the years, people are just realizing that these services might be dull and not more advanced than other competitive phones like Android having their own different applications. And then question 5: more than half of Apple revenue are from a single, very profitable product, the iPhone. Manufacturing is almost entirely in China, which is one of the lowest cost manufacturing with a supply chain. This is a definition in a strategy weakness or a strength. Apple lack of diversification is a strategy weakness on paper. We're only relying on a one product more than half of their revenue is a high risk. But with Apple being unique that it is, the strategy works for them. Since the iPhone is the world's top selling smartphone, with the data since the first iPhone, Apple can predict people are always going to want the new iPhone. Having their manufacturing mostly in China, whereas the lowest cost manufacturer, might be the only way their products are profitable as they are. compared to having it manufacturing in other countries like here in the United States, where you need to pay a higher wages and pay benefits, will cost the products to double or triple in price. And then this will have a more of something that a product only for the elite might be able to afford just because of the higher price tag, not the everyday users like students and middle class employees are able, or even lower class employees will be able to afford. Um, so I do think Apple having them mostly in China is something that they have to do um, in order to be profitable in the high volume of sales of products they make every year. And something this is what we will see over time, that this will either cause a downfall in their strategy. But in the end, Apple have been doing it for the past couple of years, and yes, they have been instances that Apple should look into it. But in the state that Apple is one of the most recognized richest company in the world, it will be a long time until Apple really has to look up back and see what they should do to move forward. Thank you so much for your time and have a great